All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lunch and Learn. We'll give it a few minutes for people to start rolling in, and then I'll go through the usual intro stuff and we'll get started here. All right, there we go. Now starting to get some people loading in. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lunch and Learn. I am Jeremy. I will be leading our call today, and we've got our schedule for the rest of this week up here as well. While I go through some of the usual kind of opening things and introductory stuff, Um, please feel free if you have any questions, please type them up in the Q&A and I'll be happy to go over them, do my best to answer some questions and see what kinds of things we can work with here. So please feel free to type up some questions in the Q&A and I'd be happy to go over them. While I give everyone else a chance to join into the call and type up any questions they have, I'll kind of go over some of the usual things and point out a couple great things to take a look at. So, in usual fashion, up at the top, we've got our YouTube channel. Check out our YouTube channel. We put a lot of good stuff up on there. I'm trying to make sure that we're keeping some things uploaded there every week. So we got some really good videos and things that kind of keep you on track or keep you focused on some of the different things that we have going on in decisions. Some things about specific steps, some things about different unique features or some cool functionality that has been added, sometimes some tips and tricks. I know recently we put up a video about AI and decisions and how AI can be used that went up last week. So some pretty cool, interesting things on that. So if you haven't used our AI Common module, it kind of touches on that a little bit, as well as some things that customers have learned about how AI works in decisions. Other things too about like steps and some other cool stuff. We've got our Decision Solutions Marketplace. Great place if you want to look at marketplace.decisions.com and a lot of cool applications and things that you can import into your system and check out and see how they work. Um, and then also we've got a couple events. So decisions.com/events. I'll go to that real quick. There's some pretty cool stuff for you to check out if you want to go check out some upcoming things we have. So the first thing that I'll highlight is our Submerse event. Submerse is early May coming up, so a little bit of time before that will happen. But we'll kind of deep dive into learning. We've got this great new project that we've been building that we have not used anywhere else yet. So that'll be really cool. And we'll go over a lot of, introductory content, but a lot of unique things too that don't always get touched on or people miss. So if you're interested or you know someone that may be interested in learning quite a few different things about just decisions in general, but also, trying out this new training project, things like that, check that out. You can register here. We've got a webinar coming up on April 10th about how our Decisions AI chatbot and different things you can use to help build your own chatbot and different things like that. So you can check that out. That's April 10th. You can register here as well. And then we also have our biweekly product roadmap. So we're bringing these review sessions back so you can, get an idea of what's coming up in Decisions, check some things out, register for that as well. So this is always open. You can come in and register for any of these things, and there's some pretty cool stuff to check out. So definitely feel free to, check those things out if we're looking for, any aspects of those. So with that, let's go ahead and start getting into some questions. Um, and we've already got a question in the chat from William. So I'll let you talk if you have anything to add, but I'll read your question and we'll go ahead and get started. Everyone else, if you come up with anything, please feel free to type them up and we'll be happy to um, help take a look at those things. So William's question is, how do you hard delete items in decisions? So if you want to hard delete a flow, rule, data structure, etc. And that's a good question. So I'll quickly highlight in case anyone's watching that isn't aware. If you right click on a flow in decisions and you just hit delete flow. So if I delete this HTML flow that I have, I delete it. It looks like it's deleted and it's gone, but it's technically not deleted. If you go to folder view, you can actually go and change the view to view all the folder items, including things that are deleted. And you'll actually see flows sitting in here that have been marked for deletion, but aren't actually deleted, and you can undelete them. And so I assume you're referring to that where I can't go back. There's no way to get it back by just undeleting it. Is that correct, William?
Yeah, pretty much. and kind of just like so we don't ship the deleted version to production, which is what we've done once already.
Got it. Yeah. So there's a couple things that you can consider. So there are like the archival settings that you can use. And so whenever something's deleted, you won't see this in here normally, but when you do have something that is deleted, you can actually set the archive settings. So that's just one thing that you could just do simply just using decisions. You can actually set an archive date, and there are settings in here. It's been a while since I've messed with this, so I'm not 100% sure if it might just be this one. um, you can actually adjust how archiving works on your system. So this is one way that you can kind of manually have this work. So if you want your archiving strategy to actually move something somewhere, you can choose what you want to do with it. Or if you want your archiving strategy to just be based on deletion, you can also do it this way. And then you can have it assess on a certain schedule or something if you want to do that. So you can just have these deletions archive your data in some ways. That's one way um, to adjust this, and then you can go into those hidden folders, the folder view, and look at the deleted folders, and you can adjust that for you. Um, and set the archive date even so you can force the archival to happen at a certain time following your settings and things like that. So that's one way you can kind of set some of those things up, especially if you maybe don't want to necessarily delete or you don't want to risk losing things. You can actually put them somewhere else so they would at least get archived and not added to your production or other things like that. If you're worried about that kind of thing, but you also, I know a lot of people don't want to necessarily hard delete. The other thing though that you can do, obviously, I want to advise against doing this too freely, but everything that you're doing is getting placed in the database, so you can go through and find, um, your specific items that you want. So if you have a flow, you can easily search for those and use queries to completely remove them from the database. Obviously, you have to be very careful with this kind of stuff. Oops, from and I can't spell. Um, right, but we have element registration that you can actually use. Element registration are like all the designers and things in decisions. So if you select from element registration, obviously add like a where clause to get more specifics on what exactly you're looking for. If you want to delete some specific flow or data structure or something, you could uh, easily access that to find those things. So you can find these items and then delete them. Again, highly advise being careful with this kind of stuff because you don't want to accidentally delete something that's important. You don't want to delete the wrong thing. Deleting is a cannot turn back kind of thing, so you have to be very, very careful with that kind of stuff. Which is why that kind of like setting up archival strategies and stuff might be better in some cases, and so on and so forth. So yeah, just another thing to kind of think about and consider. Um, and then the last thing I was going to mention, and actually VT posted this in the Q&A as well, is deleted items shouldn't normally be exported when you're doing anything or pushing things to production and stuff. So if if you're doing everything, then things should be marked as deleted. So when you are checking out from, you're in production and you check out from the repository and you have some object deleted, it should just be completely excluded. It shouldn't actually add. So unless there's something else involved that led to you have accidentally pushing something that was deleted, normally the repository shouldn't do that. And without knowing, the specifics of your case, it's hard to know exactly more about what might have happened there. But hopefully that gives you at least some ideas to think about.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you so much.
There's also a video, I put it in the chat, William, that basically just goes over the stuff that Jeremy just talked about. So if you need a refresher, we also have the YouTube video that covers that concept.
Yeah, that's really useful. I didn't know that video existed, so I'll definitely give that a watch.
Yeah, and as Jared said in the chat, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Typical YouTube plugs. All right, good question. So far, that's the only question we've received in the chat. Anyone else have additional things? I'd hate to jump to conclusions and end this too early, in case anyone else comes up with anything. No one has anything. Maybe I can just show this off in case anyone's actually utilized AI before. I can kind of show off just a little mini something that I've set up. It's in our YouTube video on AI, but I like to highlight this a little bit because it's some pretty cool stuff. And I had fun messing around with this to get used to some things. But so in decisions, if you decide to set up AI modules, and you add them to a project. So I've got a project here and I've downloaded all of our AI modules and just added them as dependencies on this project. So I can work with AI Common module, which is a great way to allow you to use all of them, especially if you have a system that wants to, pull from multiple AI, or you can have a specific one that you want to grab if if you only plan on using OpenAI, for example. But regardless, when you add one of these in decisions, you actually get the ability to create prompts and you can customize these prompts to do various different things that you want to put together. And so you can actually create a prompt to send to your AI. And then you can actually have this function so that it can send, multiple things. You can actually have it work with variables. So you have variables that you can add to this so you can make it dynamic. You can obviously make it static too, but and now in most use cases, people are going to want to be able to actually allow things to be dynamic. So you can build out this prompt to tell your AI what you're expecting it to do, provide the details and the information as well as ask it its questions. And then what you can do is in flows, we have steps. And so when you use the modules, it'll actually create this AI folder for you that automatically connects to whatever AI systems that you connect to. And then you can easily just grab chat completion steps with this. And these steps allow you to pick, you can force specific providers and models within those providers if you do want to make sure that it's only using Gemini or only using Open API and different things like that. You can select prompts from your list of prompts that you've created in your project. So then if you want to make sure that you're grabbing, some specific prompt that you've pre-built, you could easily do that. But you can also pull your prompts from your flow. So if you're trying to, you want to just have everything built within decisions, you can actually just take that string directly from decisions and send it into the chat completion step. And so you can actually have this run everything as well. So it's pretty cool overall what you can do with this. So here's one thing that I had built where I have just a little description of just some basic, vet visit. This is a very simplistic example, but a vet visit with a description about what happened, and then a prompt here where the AI is told to read the assessment and then decide what type of animal went to the vet visit, how long the vet visit took, and to actually just output it as JSON data. And then we have this variable that I added in the prompt that's just written like this as visit description. And so what we can do is we can find that, that string in my prompt that was built in that prompt section earlier and replace it with the description that I have in my flow. So then my flow can easily grab the data, replace it with something with whatever my flow had built and processed over time, and then sent it through here. So now my AI can actually respond to this and output the data that I want to output. And so then if I run this, it'll actually communicate. I believe this one is communicating with Gemini at the moment. But there we go. There's a very simple description and then it reads the data. And I think I actually passed the wrong thing in from something earlier. But it outputs my data exactly as I asked for it with the little JSON value here that I can easily then take in decisions and utilize in other ways. So the AI is definitely pretty cool functionality in here. I don't know if it's, a ton of people want to use it or I know some companies use it pretty heavily to help speed along their processes. To take something that's takes a lot of or requires a lot of manual input or strenuous work, and can easily calculate and do that pretty quickly. And so this just a little neat thing. And if you've never used AI stuff, I think it's worth definitely checking out. Because even with someone, like me, who's not obviously not going to build a whole business use case for this, but just kind of building it out for a video that we put on YouTube was actually pretty fun to work with and try to manipulate and adjust my prompt so that the AI actually gave me what I was looking for and didn't give me extra information um, or inaccurate information. Because I had quite a few issues where I was trying to get it to do some math even, and the AI kept missing values and it wasn't actually calculating everything. And I had to keep adjusting the prompt with little ways to say, okay, well, actually make sure you add this, and then I'll add a justification. And it was interesting because if I didn't ask for justification, the AI kept getting the numbers wrong. And then as soon as I asked AI to include what they added to get to the result, the math actually worked out. It was kind of interesting how it worked. So if you haven't messed with AI, I definitely think it's worth checking out, messing around a little bit. There's quite a few other things that kind of get way deeper into it as well. Some of these sort of just have basic AI chat completions, but some of them have even more, options that you can kind of work with and figure out if you're trying to use, different aspects of, what some of the AI has that they can do with, OpenAI with files and other things like that. And things. Our documentation has quite a few little points on some of these. And like I mentioned, that YouTube video, which Jared posted in the chat, is also a pretty cool place to kind of look and highlight some of the tips that other customers have found while using decisions and AI to help make it more accurate and more efficient in their processes. So definitely something worth checking out. Oh, I didn't see this in the Q&A, so apologies for missing this. VT did add something. I may be wrong, but I get a feeling there was a separate action to delete forever. If there is, or maybe was at some point, I'm not familiar with it, so I don't know if anyone else remembers that. But if there is, I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't know if anyone else is aware of that, if that had existed or anything. Can any AI be used to build flows based on prompts? So there's maybe slight limitations on the part of your question, any AI. So we do have modules set up and prepared, at least to easily set up the API connections that are required to, communicate with the AI. So I have, I think, all but one downloaded. Yeah, the Google Vertex I just didn't install for some reason, but all the other ones, Anthropic, Bedrock, our common module is the one that connects all of them together, and then Gemini and OpenAI. So those are the modules that we have. By just installing these modules, it makes the connection really easy. But we've had customers that utilized some of these things the without the modules or without the specific um, like common module and things like that in the past. So it's entirely possible if if you have the API documentation and the details from any other, system, you could probably make that connection manually. We just have these ones are meant to help ease the process a little bit and get that set up for you pretty quickly and easily. Because all you have to do is install the module, and then you'll have settings where you have to set up the keys that you would get from having your account on this, AI system that you can, add the proper key to and everything. And then once you have those keys, you could easily just pull from those systems like I showed here. You'll be able to add these prompts manually, so you could, add your own prompt. It's a pretty simple process. You just add a name, type up your prompt. You can add variables in here, or like I showed earlier, you can add variables in the flows, so you could easily pull from those things, and that kind of thing. So, you can easily look at that kind of stuff. And whatever the AI has the power to do, there's a pretty good chance that you can configure that within decisions. There are no AI that can be used in large action model to be able to learn how to use decisions UI. that's definitely going to get more complex. I feel like the answer to that is no. I don't think that we have anything that can at least utilize decisions UI that I've seen. Um, I'm not aware of it. I don't know if that's anything in the pipeline to build out or utilize in any way or make easier. Just because I don't know how many people have looked for that kind of thing. Um, but yeah, at least at the moment, I'm not aware of anything that has used that or can use that. And sorry, you keep asking questions. I'll give you the ability to talk in case you have anything else you wanted to add. Okay, and Shan, you just joined and has a question as well. So let me read our question out loud. I'll give you the ability to talk as well if you want to add anything. But I have a question regarding this UI feature I've been trying to implement. Is it possible to add a number next to a folder to show the amount of tasks or requests that are in said folder? That's a good question. Wasn't this question asked previously?
Yes.
I'm still working on it. Yeah, this is a question that I got, and I'm trying to find the material. There is a I thought there was a step by step to this. But I'm still working on trying to build that out.
No problem. Yeah, I was just curious about that. Um, I guess just yeah, for kind of clarity's sake, it's just I think you would have it as my inbox. It has like a little number next to it. That kind of shows the amount of tasks or requests are in the folder. And I was just trying to see if that's possible to do for like to for just another kind of folder in order to show how many are in there. That's all.
Yeah, I think it's a really good question. It's a cool feature, as I'm sure some people might be interested in it. Obviously, I don't have much since Gregory's been working on it a little bit, but even if it's not something easy, it's always possible or potentially a useful feature request, even just a
Right.
feature to make it more easy to access for some people.
It
For
does.
sure.
Something that's
It
not
does
easy.
exist already. I'm trying to brainstorm to remember how to get to it. Jared, do you remember how to get to it? How you set it up?
For that
The folder
little
the
number,
count. Yeah,
back on the inbox or back on any folder?
Any folder, I think, is the
any
real
folder.
question.
On any folder. That's the part I'm trying to. I've never done that. Would have to confirm, test it out. We'll get back with you. Could you put your email in the chat? We'll get back to you today on it, and so you'll have something, whether we can do it or we can't do it.
Sure. Here, let's see. Oh, it says here. I'll just type it here then. You
If you right click on the folder and you click on more and personalize, yeah, and look and feel, and
I'll find it here in a
should
second. I figured out where it's in the 9.4 release. I made a video for it back in 9.4. I'll have it in a couple moments.
So was that removed at some point?
On the inbox, I think it was in later versions of 9 that was
Yeah.
removed.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
That's just the folder order
That's
of like how you
yeah,
want
it's
to
like
sort.
the order, and these are just the icons and colors and stuff.
I do remember I've done that in 8. So it's like a flow that I can get count on something.
I'm posting it, right? Oh, you got it.
Link to video.
Oh, I just found that if you create a flow and for reports pages, and there is a folder count flow.
You said if you create a flow?
Yeah.
Yes,
Uh,
apologies, y'all. Yeah, it's a folder count flow at 114 in that. I thought I was unmuted
no,
for some reason.
Oh, yeah, I see
change.
what you mean. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a type of
Is
flow.
a behavior.
Yeah, so you can right click it and then it'll allow you to put a flow in there and you can specify what that count is. So in 9.4, if when we did remove that, and then if folks wanted to bring it back, that's how you would do it. So you'd right click it, change the behavior to a folder count flow, and then in there you will put a step to calculate what you want and map it into the red end step.
Yeah, you can fetch assignments, for example.
Yeah. So yeah, 1 minute and 14 seconds in that video.
There we go. Any folder's contents and display its total as a label next to the folder name.
Oh, okay, wait, so, oh, okay, so that's what, so it's within flow creation.
Yeah, so when you're creating a flow, or if you already have a flow that you want to use the count for, you can just change the flow behavior. But it's called folder count flow. It's under 4 pages and reports.
And I do believe you need to specify folder ID for that to display.
Yeah.
Would that be specified as like an input or how would that look?
Yeah, we could just build it right now. We'll see.
I don't think it doesn't even let you add inputs. So I think everything would have to be added.
It does
Like
have
the
default data.
Yeah,
the
that's what I was
step,
gonna
the
say.
step you need is get my assignment count, or that work too.
It's not constant.
Use make a named output called
Loaded.
folder count.
Yeah, so there are some details here. These are
Well,
just this is the default input stuff.
just what I would do is just go to the end step, just add a number and see if that appears. Oh, like right, just folder count. Make a
Yeah, so
make
you
it
would add the
constant.
calculation here or whatever.
Yeah, let's make it constant and just make it 5, and let's see if that appears next to the folder, right? You may have to remove that step. Might break it or do that. Right.
I do believe you need to fetch folder, fetch entity and fetch folder that
You
you
have
want
to
to
tell it
apply
what
it to.
folder. Yeah, I think you
Yes.
probably have to tell it what folder to put it on.
Because it doesn't say in there.
There's no input for what folder. So how would it know?
Could you, can you make a normal, like could you do like in a normal folder or something? Not one of those weird.
Yeah.
The folder is an input to this flow. So if you want to run this flow,
Oh, you'd have to put, yeah, you're right. You put the flow in another flow
yes.
and it would add I see what you mean. I can just do this dashboard, sure.
Yeah, so for example, if you add an assignment, you would fetch that folder and use the subflow to refresh count.
Can you see? Go to the properties, the top right. It looks like
There
you
we
just
go.
pick it
It's in
there.
the
Yeah.
properties. That's where it is. Yeah.
And then do we have the number?
Yeah. Numbers.
Okay. Then yeah, let's close and save and see if it triggers. And so it should just say 5 on there. Refresh. Let's see if it is. So nope.
Can you hard refresh because it's cache? Like really
Could be.
bad. Yeah.
On timer
pick-
for folder. Okay.
Change time to seconds.
Yeah, so like every 5 seconds or something. And then now close and save. And I think it should appear. And Jeremy, could you also on your keyboard, can you also, or go to the 3 dots all the way to the right, on the top of your bar, up into the
Oh,
browser,
up here. Yeah.
inspect. There should be more tools, inspect for dev tools for the browser. Yeah, and then go all the way to the refresh thing to the left. All the way to the left, like opposite end of the screen. Opposite end of the screen to the all left.
So not in the dev
Wait,
tools,
Other
you're like
left,
browser
other left, all the
refresh.
window.
Oh, you
yeah.
mean like this?
Yeah, right click that and then,
Oh,
no, right click it.
Yep.
Empty cache and hard reload.
Got it.
And then let's see if that does it. And now you can remove DevTools, because we just needed it to get that menu. And then public, and I don't see it.
Do we have to run the flow manually or is it gonna refresh the one that's
That's a
containing
good
it?
idea. I would let it run it once. It's a good idea.
Or like right click run?
Yeah. I just want to make sure it's saved because it didn't save
Mm.
it before. Let's refresh first, see if it did anything. Nothing.
Mm,
Let's see.
Is it?
If you view the folder, I'm curious, if you view the folder in folder view, does that change it? Like instead of, you're in project view right now. If you go to folder view. No, not there. No, to the left, like on the left panel, all the way to the left.
Oh, and here.
Right,
Oh, like
yeah,
this one
yeah.
here.
I'm
Oh,
curious
yeah,
if,
that's what it.
that's
yeah,
where-
it's
that's
not
what
in
I
the
thought,
project.
okay.
It's got to be just in the regular folders.
that makes more sense, because yeah, if it's an end user function, then it's gonna be on that perspective. So. There you go, Shane.
Sorry for the delay.
I guess you wouldn't. Then you wouldn't be able to do it to a project at all. Like a designer folder would only make sense to use for a
Right,
dashboard like folder.
yeah, which makes sense because, right, end user dashboards are, when they do assignments, is on the user perspective.
I think that was mainly what I was going for. Let's see. Okay. So it was. So there's really like no actual like steps in the flow itself. It's just a matter. It's just a matter of I
you can
guess-
use
So-
JavaScript if you want to make it here. You can use JavaScript on your page and just attach that count. So you use the flow and JavaScript to attach that count to your folder name or whatever if you find it by ID.
Shane, is your question on the location of the number? Are you trying to customize that number, or are you trying to figure out how to get the logic to get the number to populate?
just I guess how to even get like the number to like exist there.
Yeah, but so
yeah.
so the way to do that is there's a step, like I think in that video, I think Robert posted it. I would save that, but in that video there's a get assignments account. I can go ahead and grab that. Jeremy, that step, it's like something about get assignments by count. Get assignment. Yeah, get my assignment
That's
count.
My assignment count.
Yeah, so that's a step that says get my assignment count, where you can get a count for like assignments assigned to a particular individual, right? That's how that one can work. To get actual assignments that are like, let's say you want to do more of a group, you want to get an assignment count that way. If you use the fetch entities, assignments is just a a default data type inside of decisions. So you can say, I want to fetch entities of assignments. And then what you can do is you can say, hey, I want that parent folder ID to be the filter of wherever you're storing that assignment, right? So that's where you would get that information. You could say, okay, I want it from here. And then you can pick that, dashboard there with the inputs there. You can also get it from a flow and say, hey, from the flow, you want to do that. So in this part, we would say flow data.
Mhm.
And then you go to flow data, and then you would do folder, right, from that input there, and folder ID. And so basically that parameterizes it where it says, hey, I'm actually going to find all of the stuff that's within the folder ID, of that object. So you can have it more dynamic and not just tied to something static. Can you go to the properties, Jeremy, on the actual
fetch.
entire flow? On the
Okay.
entire flow, please. Yeah. On the counter type, can you do that drop down list of the counter type up the first one at the top? Yeah, for folder type. Okay, so it looks like you can parameterize it by. Oh, cool. So it looks like you can parameterize it by specific types for it. So you can say, hey, just for assignments, because you can store anything in a folder. So that's why it allows you to specify it by the type. The other thing, and last thing, and then I'll pause, is the only not really limitation to this, but Jeremy, if you can close this flow and open up another flow, the only thing you need to be aware of is when you utilize add tasks in decisions, and I don't know if you've configured your assignments this way, but this is not me knowing from testing. This is just me kind of postulating that
Mhm.
if you go to the assignment setup, Jeremy, there's a particular area where you can say assignment a folder type storage and change not specified, and say select.
Mhm.
And then you could pick a folder. So basically that's the setting that says, hey, I actually want to store the assignments in this folder. And if that's enabled, then you can have it both the get count number and the assignment stored in the same location to get your number. Typically, most people leave this blank, and then I don't know how you would find that data that you're looking for. You may have to say, like, if assignments are tied to a specific project, which might be a little bit harder to get. But if you do this paradigm where you say, hey, I have 3 projects, PTO, travel request, we'll just do 2, right? PTO and travel request. And I want to store all PTO assignments in the PTO assignments folder. I want to store all travel request assignments in the travel or travel requests in the travel request assignment. And then you just have that configured at runtime, because you can also do this from select from flow. And then you can get that organization that you need.
Okay. Okay.
So did that clear it up, or?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I have the video that got posted into the chat, so I'll give that a try, and
Okay,
I'll
cool.
see if that works.
Awesome, cool. Hey, we got lunch and learn tomorrow, so if you're still struggling, just come back tomorrow. We can help you out.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
All right, yeah. And with that, I think that probably seems like it's our last question, last chance before we end this. If anyone has any other thoughts. Wait a minute. There we go. Yep. All right. We'll go ahead and end it today. We've still got Gregory and Jared closing off the rest of this week. But don't forget, check out Submerse, check out our other events coming up, and we will see hopefully everyone again soon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.